Good evening, everyone. I'm Jackie Bang.
And I'm Tamon Bradley. WGN's Eric Rung is live outside Walter Reed Medical Center in Bethesda, Maryland tonight with the very latest. Eric.
Good evening. Well, this came as a big surprise that the president left Walter Reed Medical Center and did a drive-by of his supporters out here. We knew something was about to happen. About an hour ago, we heard a lot of police sirens. We saw police lining the streets, and lo and behold, the president's motorcade did drive by. Now, these supporters have been out here since the president was taken to Walter Reed Medical Center on Friday. Now, some people that saw the president say they gave them a double thumbs up as he drove by and down both sides of the street. In the video that he posted shortly before his surprise drive-by, he is standing instead of sitting like he was last night. The video posted today was shorter than the one he posted last night. This one was only about a minute. In addition to promising a surprise for his supporters, he once again thanked the doctors and nurses that are caring for him.
So it's been a very interesting journey. I learned a lot about COVID. I learned it by really going to school. This is the real school. This isn't the let's read the book school. And I get it, and I understand it, and it's a very interesting thing, and I'm going to be letting you know about it. In the meantime, we love the USA, and we love what's happening. Thank you.
Now, this drive-by came after another day of mixed messages coming from the president's doctors. We learned that he was put on a steroid that is generally reserved for those who have a severe case of COVID-19. We also learned that the president was put on oxygen at least once. The president's team of doctors this morning emerging from Walter Reed Medical Center with our clearest answer yet as to when the president may return to the White House.
And if he continues to look and feel as well as he does today, our hope is that we can plan for a discharge as early as tomorrow to the White House where he can continue his treatment course.
Doctors today saying in addition to remdesivir and the antibody treatment, the president is taking dexamethasone, a steroid. A decision made after the president's blood oxygen levels dipped for a second time. The first dip was Friday morning. The president was given supplemental oxygen for about an hour, something his doctor wouldn't say yesterday.
And in doing so, it came off that we were trying to hide something, which wasn't necessarily true.
That first dip in oxygen levels, coupled with a high fever and cough, prompted doctors to move the president to Walter Reed. The president's second dip in oxygen happened yesterday morning. His doctor was unsure if the president was given oxygen or not.
I'd have to check with the nursing staff. I don't think that if he did, it was very, very limited.
As to why his version of the president's health was much rosier when he briefed reporters yesterday compared to that of the president's chief of staff, Mark Meadows, who said it was concerning on Friday.
I think his statement was misconstrued.
The president last night posted a video to social media in an effort to show the country he is doing better.
We're going to beat this coronavirus.
But he wasn't wearing a mask, something he has mocked and doesn't wear often. His doctor indicating that may change when he leaves Walter Reed.
I assure you, he'll, as long as he's still under my care, we'll talk about him wearing a mask.
Mask or not, his supporters who have held down the pavement in front of Walter Reed since he was admitted Friday evening were happy to hear he may be leaving tomorrow.
I think God is going to get him out of here. He's giving him the strength to get out of here.
Now, if the president is released tomorrow, we have not been given any sort of time frame on when that might happen. We are live outside of Walter Reed Medical Center in Bethesda, Maryland. I'm Eric Rung, WGN News.